Mono Red Sneak Attack, one of the more entertaining decks in the room here this weekend against Stephen Hager, who is playing Sultai Delver. Looks to be a pretty tough matchup here for Stephen, but stranger things have happened, and we will see exactly what this Sneak Attack deck is capable of. It's a Deathrite Shaman to start things off. Always a good start in this particular format, that's for sure.
Another nice thing about Elsik's strategy here is that he doesn't put any lands in the graveyard, really. So the Deathrite it's got to be on your terms.
It's a Chalice of the Void for 1, but that's going to be targeted by a Daze. Does he have a Simian Spirit Guide to pay for the Daze? The answer is no, so Chalice is taken care of. We're going to head back over to Stephen Hager now. Underground Sea. Deathrite's going to remove something. Maybe it'll be one of those 4 hymns. It'll be a Tarmogoyf instead. We'll go back over to Zach Elsik now. Now this is a deck, don't forget, in Sultai Delver, has a lot of problems with Blood Moon.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We have seen that in the past. Here's a Chalice for 1 again. This time it will resolve. Elsik is down to 16 now via the 2 Ancient Tombs. Tarmogoyf checking in at a 2-3. There's an artifact and an instant in the graveyard. We know Tarmogoyf can get a whole lot bigger than that.
Here's Hymn to Torok.
And you said it, this could be a problematic card for Elsik because his deck is, in a weird way, it's a combo deck. It's just a deck that doesn't want to lose any of its pieces because it doesn't brainstorm or anything.
Yeah.
There goes Chalice and Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack might be the best card in his hand there, too.
Or it might be nothing. But if nothing else, it's now we have a sorcery and an enchantment in the graveyard for the Tarmogoyf. Really increasing the clock here.
Beatdowns. Goyf's a 4-5. Deathrite Shaman, of course, just a 1-2.
Also, I think a big difference here in the matchup compared to what we watched yesterday. I think that Tarmogoyf is much better than Young Pyromancer. There's a burden on the Delver player to get the game over with as fast as possible, to get some pressure into play. And you know, like let's say you play a Young Pyromancer and then Chalice of the Void sticks. That's really painful. If you have a Tarmogoyf on the battlefield, that matters a lot less.
Wasteland.
Yes.
Your pal.
Yes.
Taking care of Ancient Tomb, and now this game might be over. And of course, you're going to watch Tarmogoyf get even bigger now.
Beatdowns, beatdowns, beatdowns.
Elsik's going to fall down to 6. It's only going to take one more turn here for Zach.
With Abrupt Decay in the hand, too.
Yeah, excuse me, for Steven. Steven is in the driver's seat. 1 mountain. Let's move that over there. It looks like Steven's going to activate Deathrite Shaman, remove the Hymn to Torok, put Elsik down to 4, and only take 1 Tarmogoyf attack as Tarmogoyf's going to slide down to a 4-5, sure, because there's no longer a sorcery in the graveyard, but 4 is more than enough, and we are all set. So Stephen Hager's going to very quickly win game number 1 here over Zach Elsik. Elsik able to get a Chalice of the Void on the battlefield, but that was not going to be enough. And Sultai Delver very quickly wins game number 1. Our other matches here, Logan Martin on Jeskai Control, Andrew Sullano on Burn, Matt Garner on Blue-Black Control, and Dylan Kirkpatrick on Mardu Vehicles in Standard. Those players are still working away. Sometimes Legacy is shorter than the others. So while those players do work away and Elsik and Hager prepare to sideboard, we are going to take a quick moment to hear a few messages from our sponsors.
Go.
We are back and ready to watch more of Zach Elsik and Stephen Hager. That's Mono-Red Sneak Attack against Sultai Delver. We're going to start with Elsik's sideboard, which he's got some goodies to bring in here in 3 Trinisphere, 2 Fiery Confluence, not Conclusion. That's just a limited staple. 2 Fairy Macabre, 2 Kozilek's Return, 2 Magus of the Moon, and a Braid of Boil, a Chandra Torch of Defiance, and a Sorcerer's Spyglass, Patrick.
He's got some anti-creature measures, but it's not clear if any of this lines up the right way against Tarmogoyf, so he might just keep the main deck approximately the same. Maybe bring in the Boil. I'm skeptical of Trinisphere against a deck with Abrupt Decays, but if he just wants more lock pieces, that's an option as well.
Other side of things here for Steven. 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Thoughtseize. Here come the one-ofs and Diabolic Edict, Murderous Cut, Flusterstorm Spell Snare, Liliana the Veil, Sylvan Library, and Umezawa Shite.
Love the 2 copies of Spell Pierce, the 2 Thoughtseizes, the Diabolic Edict, the Murderous Cut. Just some more cheap interaction and a couple of answers to if Elsik is able to actually sneak attack something onto the battlefield. Diabolic Edict and Murderous Cut, usually very good in those spots.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Garner 2 coming underway here in just a moment as they just look like they finished shuffling up and presenting now. You'll see the updates to our scoreboard here. Andrew Sullano, he won game number 1 over Logan Martin, so Burn is up a game here over Jeskai Control. And you take a look at Dylan Kirkpatrick. He was able to win game number 1 with Mardu Vehicles over Matt Garner, playing a blue-black control. So the team of Elsik, Sullano, and Kirkpatrick, currently in the lead. And I do think this is a pretty good matchup here for Elsik, but game 1 certainly did not go his way, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know. I think that this style of Delver is much worse for him than the build we saw yesterday. Abrupt Decays, Tarmogoyfs, and Hymn to Torox, I think, are all better cards than anything that Grixis Delver brings to the table.
Like Bolt and Pyromancer?
Yeah, just much slower cards and nowhere near as disruptive.
We don't see a ton of Sultai Delver nowadays. We see a lot of people gravitate toward Grixis Delver. That's kind of the default best deck in the format right now. Players do play lands and various combo decks like Storm and Sneak and Show, and we do see a lot of different things, but a lot of people have just been really gravitating towards Grixis Delver. It's been putting up the best results in the format. And as a result, this is why you see a deck like Mono-Red Sneak Attack, because it really does prey on that archetype.
Yes. It is attacking people's mana bases and reliance on 1-mana spells in a way that no other deck in Legacy really does.
Well, Elsik, I think we're taking a mulligan here. Perhaps Stephen will be too, but these players are taking a look at some opening hands.
I mean, there's a lot of hands that this deck gets on the play where if the opponent doesn't have Force of Will, it's just over on the first turn.
Yeah, they're dead. There's some appeal to that. Well, Zach's not happy. Looks like he's going to go down to 5. It looks like Stephen is going to keep 6, and Stephen's going to scry in a moment. Going to wait for Zach to finish things up, which means we can talk about the StarCityGames.com creature collection and our old pal String Theory, because it is the month of January, and we got some sleeves and stuff to sell to you.
Yep.
Right?
Sleeves, player bundles, play mats. Go to StarCityGames.com/creature collection. Check it all out.
We got all sorts of stuff there too.
All kinds of things.
A lot of goodies. I know our holiday sale that we had over the month of December and the beginning of January, we had some nice deep discounts on some of the creature collection stuff. And now we've got a great line of products coming in 2018. String Theory, Two-Toed Spectacle, The Fast and the Curious, and a whole bunch more. Go to StarCityGames.com/creature collection. We'll be updating that every single month with new products and goodies. Apparently the Hippo is still a fan favorite, by the way.
Of course.
We worked hard for that Hippo, though. We really did. I was proud of the work on the Hippo.
You should be.
We should be. That was a team. It's a mountain. And not much past that for Zach Elsik. Verdant Catacombs is where Stephen Hager's going to start. He's going to fall down to 19. We'll see exactly which land he wants to get. And if he has something like a Deathrite Shaman to get this game started.
So I don't have the best look at Hager's hand, and so I don't know. He has the option of Tropical Island or Verdant Catacombs, and I don't know what's motivating him to start with the Verdant Catacombs, but against this deck, it's correct to open with your fetch lands to play around Blood Sun. You do not want to have one of those stranded.
It makes you wonder how many people know that at this point, and how many players have adjusted to that, because Blood Sun is a real card. Here's a Thoughtseize backbreaking on a mulligan.
Well, that's a hand.
You got a problem with this hand? Sneak Attack, Sorcerer, Spyglass, Simian Spirit Guide, Worldspine Worm. Hey, this is all part of it. This is all part of playing this deck.
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Spyglass going to go to the
Zach
bin.
has nothing to complain about. And this hand's actually pretty good if he rips a 2-mana land. If he resolves Sneak Attack, then he's drawing very live.
He'll just pass the turn back for now. That one goes on top of Steven's deck. There we go. Tropical Island, Tarmogoyf. There's your clock. And it's already a 3-4. Elsik will draw. And he'll simply pass the turn back. You see the Force of Will and now a Brainstorm here in Steven Hager's hand, so Sneak Attack is covered right now.
And Tarmogoyf plus Force of Will just might be enough to...
Yeah, that might just be game.
That might be good enough.
Sometimes it's not any more complicated than that. You know, it can be pretty simple. Here's a Ponder. Looks like Hager's going to keep that on top. He'll draw a card. Might be putting his team up a match here very quickly as here comes Goyf. In for 3. Follow-up is a Wasteland, and he's happy to pass the turn back. Over to Elsik, who will play a Mountain, and he will simply pass the turn back. Hager will draw. Nick Miller coming in here to the booth with our metagame breakdown. Lot to look over here. 42 teams on day number 2 of competition. We're watching 2 of them right now, both of which still in top 8 competition. That's a Brainstorm. 3 cards coming, 2 will go back. Don't have a great look at them. But as long as Force of Will and a blue card stay in hand, I think Steven's probably going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it seems like with the resources that Elsik has afforded to him this game, you can probably build up to 1 big spell. 2 is unlikely.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Tarmogoyf clocking him.
Yeah.
And it just grew into a 4-5. Sorcery instant land artifact in the graveyard. Mr. Rainforest a land. Tarmogoyf going to come across for 4. Elsik's going to fall down to 13. Mr. Rainforest will be sacrificed, making it what we like to call in the business a perfect Brainstorm.
And I think a quick glance there at Hager's hand had Force of Will, blue card, and Spell Pierce.
That makes it even more difficult to win.
So I think Hager in firm control of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Modern Classic, welcome to round 4. You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
Let's see what Hager's follow-up play is going to be. It'll be another Ponder off the Tropical Island. Take a look at 3. Ponder among them. Looks like a Deathrite Shaman too. Hager going to keep it. Draw a card. And play Deathrite, pass the turn back. Force of Will is the protection. Might be a Daze in hand too, but Steven Hager is definitely in the driver's seat. Elsik needs to make a move here very soon. Does not have a lot of life or time to work with. But he's just going to pass the turn once again. Ponder the draw. Spell Pierce in hand, as you did mention, Patrick. Here comes Tarmogoyf in for 4. Elsik going to fall down to 9.
And now we might be looking at potentially lethal next turn. I think that if Hager was going to ponder here, I would have preferred to ponder before attacks. See if you can find something else, another card type to put in the graveyard. Especially since Elsik has all these oddball card types like enchantment and so forth. You might have been able to add a point there. Close the game 1 turn sooner potentially, although with a second Deathrite, it's probably okay.
Yeah. This Deathrite activation going to bring Elsik down to 7. -4 is 3. 2 Deathrites, 0.
Yeah.
-1 technically. Yep. Well, let's just see me in Spirit Guides. That resolves, you win. Here's a Spell Pierce.
Like the Spell Pierce here.
Prefer that over Force of Will. Yeah.
Now there's enchantment in the graveyard. Coming across for a lethal next turn.
Yep.
A trivial task.
Indeed. Tarmogoyf grows to a 5-6. Hager will draw, and we're going to get ready for our next match here. Tarmogoyf's going to come across for 5, bring him down to 4. 2 Deathrites will make it 2, and then 0. So we'll have Steven Hager, Logan Martin, and Matthew Garner up a match here as Sultai Delver dispatches of Mono Red Sneak Attack. No fireworks there, unfortunately, for Zach Elsik. So we're going to turn our attention, I think, over to the Modern match now because we should have some time to jump over to Standard 2. That one probably takes a little bit longer. So burn via Jeskai control, and of course, if you're in the booth with me, gotta have burn with me, right?
Sure.
Gotta have a little burn ready to rock and roll. Well, Sullano, Logan Martin, that's where we're going to be going here in just a moment. Looks like things are pretty close down there, so hopefully we can jump that way. And we're getting a little help from our table spotter here, updating our life totals and all that jazz. It looks like Logan's at 3.
That's what I like to see.
Yeah, that means something's going right here for Mr. Sullano. Now, it looks like Logan Martin is adopting the Benjamin Nikolic school of thought with how to build his Jeskai deck. You can see our life totals here. It looks like 12-6. As Kanta has transformed, no longer searching for it. Logan Martin has found it. And now there is search for Escanta. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, as we're going to go over to Sullano, who has a Lightning Helix and a Molten Rain.
Oh, yeah.
In hand. Molten Rain, huh? Boom! Cryptic Command says no thank you.
Doesn't matter a ton, but I think with a second search for Escanta, I would have preferred for Sullano to go after the Colonnade. The Colonnade can shut out a lot of turns in this kind of matchup.
Sacred Founder going to go to the graveyard. Remember, you don't have to transform Search for Escanta if you don't want to. That's one of the nice things. You can actually have Escanta and Search on the battlefield at the same time and play both sides of it. Let's go back over to Sullano now, who has Skill Crack and Lightning Helix. Dispel has been found.
And that might be too much.
Maybe.
It looked like Martin's hand was just a couple copies of Path before that. And was at risk of getting burned out.
Hallowed Fountain's going to enter the
a lot more
battlefield
challenging
tapped.
now.
Yeah. Sullano's picked up another copy of Skullcrack. Here's another activation of Escanta. This one finds Cryptic Command. Now, if you did have the opportunity to read Benjamin Nikolic's primer about his Jeskai control deck that he won SCG Columbus with a couple weeks ago, as Lightning Bolt goes to the graveyard from Search, his trick with this deck is pretty simple. Don't try to kill your opponent. Just don't do it, man.
Yeah, with Escanta, it only gets better.
Yeah.
So
they'll lose eventually. Do not make a move. You'll win when you're in a spot like this. There's Goblin Guide. That'll probably do something. Not really, but you could imagine if it did. Might give Logan Martin a land. Lightning Helix, that's going to be hard to beat. There's a Path to Exile.
Sullano not casting his spells right now, trying to get in a spot to overwhelm the wall of counter magic that Martin is building up here. So the Path isn't the worst thing in the world, as he really wants more mana, but Martin here shutting the door.
That's contact activation. Gotta take Lightning Helix, yeah. And it looks like our standard match is going to be going to game number 3, so if we have some time to jump over there, we certainly will. Steam Fence is going to go to the graveyard.
Honestly, I would not have mind Martin there, because I think he has another Path in hand. He can answer a follow-up creature. That might have been a really good spot to just resolve the Lightning Helix. If Sullano were to Skullcrack on the way back, he had the mana left over to Dispel. And if Martin's going to lose this game, it's just going to be because he's too tight on mana. He's got all the resources. I think he's a heavy favorite regardless, but I think you kind of want to spend your mana as efficiently as possible, trade your resources with Sullano's and get a little bit of life. I just think it's very hard for Sullano to beat that.
Well, there's a Helix. There's a Dispel. Excuse me, a Spell Snare. And Sullano knows he's beat. So he'll pack it up, pack it in. We're going to begin in game number 3 here in just a moment between Andrew Sullano and Logan Martin. Same thing can be said for Dylan Kirkpatrick and Matt Garner. On one side, we got Burn, other side, Jeskai Control. Mardu Vehicles, Blue-Black Control. So both players going to get ready to start game number 3. And we are going to have a quick message from our sponsors.
Go. Go.
Game number 3 about to be underway here between Andrew Sullano and Logan Martin. It's Burn. It's just got control. They've been given the green light, so let's do this here. Monastery's Whisper is a great start.
Yes. And in some ways better than Goblin Guide in this matchup because the Jeskai control deck really needs all of its resources. Revealing lands to Goblin Guide is more painful in this matchup than almost any other matchup in Modern.
Scalding Tarn there for Logan Martin.
Also, the removal's a lot of bolts, and sometimes you can actually trap them. You can't do the same thing with Goblin Guide.
Lava Spike and Lightning Bolt in hand here. Actually, 2 Lightning Bolts. Sullano will sacrifice this Arid Mesa. How's this matchup for you normally? Pretty tough?
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a fair number of clunky and cumbersome cards. So there are times where the draw just doesn't quite come together the right way, or they don't interact for the first 2 turns.
Okay.
But by and large, if they have a little bit of interaction, the 1 mana stuff, the spell snares, the dispels, or the lightning helixes, obviously, they're all so good that if they draw a little bit of that interaction and don't stumble in a major way, I think they're a big favorite.
Lava Spike strategy. There's Lightning Bolt. Looks like that's going to take care of old Swift Spear. This is where I wish this deck played 1 mutagenic growth. It's horrible. Just sometimes you just want to get them.
It's true.
All right, there goes Lava Spike. That's going to resolve. Well, it's a good time to maybe get a Lightning Bolt in, but Sullano's going to wait it out.
Yeah, I think, you know, if he has something like Dispel, it's going to line up at something at some point, and I think you're better served giving him a little bit less information to work with, and also if you draw a future Swift Spear, you want to be able to really let it rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan Martin going to fall down to 12 via the Flooded Strand. Going to get a land. There's a Battlefield tapped, I'm sure. There's Hollowed Fountain. Back over to Logan will go. A Plains and a pass. Looks like Sullano's going to search up the land here with the Wooded Foothills. Perhaps it'll be a Sacred Foundry, if he can find it in his deck. He has.
Started playing some Shrine of Burning Rages in my sideboard, and they're not good here all the time, but that's been the one card I found that can shift the matchup in a significant way.
Yeah.
Well, if you have it on the play, they're kind of on spell, snare, or bust in a lot of spots.
Okay.
And if they don't have Cryptic to bounce it, it just sits there and eventually kills them.
Okay. Makes sense, actually. A little teamwork, making the dream work here between Sullano and Kirkpatrick.
It's the one card that I have found that gives you a shot against their functioning draws. It's not good all the time, for sure, but
love the team dynamic of these tournaments. I really do. When teams work well together, it's actually beautiful to watch.
Yep.
And you see Dylan looks like he's asking for a little help in his matchup right now against Matt. Sullano trying to still stay a little focused on what he's got in front of him. Scalding Tarn the draw. He's got 3 bolts and 2 lands in hand. And an opponent at 12, which is a virtual 3. That's not the reality of the situation, but it's one way that you can look at it. Sullano right now just really wishes he had something like a Skullcrack in hand. Who knows? So we're going to head back over to Logan Martin. There's an island. We'll just pass the turn back. So the turns are pretty straightforward and simple thus far for each player. Wooded Foothills the draw.
2 copies of Lightning Helix here in Martin's hand, and only the 1 red source of mana. So he is happy to sit here and wait. Doesn't want to run into potential Skullcrack. And if Sullano's not doing anything, Martin's position only gets better, so there's really no rush.
Serum Visions here will draw Logan a card. Now scry 2. And both are going to go to the bottom. Lightning Helix the draw now for Sullano. He'll play a land.
And I really like Sullano's pace right now. He's not trying to do anything. You know, eventually, you know, you try to set up a spot where you can play a bunch of spells on Martin's end step and untap and try to go over the top.
Boros Charm the draw.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Just keep waiting. Keep waiting.
Both players going to sit here and keep waiting. Who will make a move is the question. Electrolyze the draw.
I kind of wish Martin was trying to land a Helix here with Dispel backup. He's got to start casting things. If Sullano beats you in this spot, it's because you don't have enough mana to do everything that you need to do, and he's able to overwhelm your defenses. So I like the idea of spending a little bit of mana here. Lightning Helix with Dispel backup, really good shot that resolves. And then, you know, you've had a really good exchange of resources, and your mana is a little unlocked here. Because if you could give yourself a cushion, then he's got Secure the Waste in hand. Instead of discarding the Secure the Waste, you'd be able to cast it for 3 or 4 and try to get this game over with. It's a little nerve-wracking to be in Martin's spot here where your mana's jammed up, you're not making your land drops, and Sullano's just sitting there with a full grip of cards.
Well, here we go, potentially. Here's Lightning Helix. This allows them to do Helix, Helix, plus Helix, Helix, Dispel in the same turn.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at here. Boros Charm looks like it's going to be the response. Boros Charm will resolve.
Yeah, Martin is saying if it's not Skullcrack, I'm not fighting over it.
Okay.
Now here, Helix is still here. What do you want to do?
I have a Helix of my own. Ooh, maybe I don't. He's got to crack some fetches too. Can't forget about that.
Yeah, I like the idea here of opening up with the Lightning Helix if you're going to keep fighting over the stack, because Martin it forces the hand on Spell Snare if he has it. From there, if he doesn't Spell Snare, then you have bolts against the potential Spell Snare in hand. It's unlikely to go down that way because he probably would have just snared the Boros Charm. But if you want to keep fighting, that's the way I would have done it. Sullano is showing a lot of discipline here. I like his approach because if you think Martin, you know, let's say Martin really respects Skullcrack here, you open up with the Boros Charm. If he has the 1 counter and he's really respecting Skullcrack, he probably won't fight. And then you can get your Boros Charm to resolve and not fight any further.
Dylan Kirkpatrick won the standard match against Matt Garner. So Mardu Vehicles takes care of blue-black control. So it all comes down to this between Sullano and Martin.
I think Sullano is you know, it's going to be he's going to be hard pressed to win this one because Martin has, you know, Cryptic Dispel, 2 Lightning Helixes, but he's giving himself a really good shot by the way that he's managing the stack in these little fights.
Helix exchange. Players will stay exactly where they are. What if Foothills a draw? Back over to Logan now. He'll pass. To Sullano we go. Swiftspear the draw. Can't imagine that's good.
Well, it is the reason for holding these bolts back.
Maybe time for Electrolyze.
Yeah, I think Solano's saying go again, which I really like. Against 7 cards, your Swiftspear is unlikely to do anything. You just got to wait and build up. You need a hand of, basically from here, you need a hand of 7 live cards. That's your shot for actually stealing this.
Path to Exile looks like it was the draw. Sullano will take a draw. Skullcrack. How many fetchable lands does he have? Gotta figure that out.
Most of these builds play 6. He's on 5.
5, 3 mountains, 2 sacred founders.
Yep.
He's already got one of the mountains. So
I went from 5 to 6 because I just ran out of lands to fetch for too frequently. You may ask, well, isn't that just in games where you flood out? Who cares?
in games like this, it matters.
It matters in games like this, and it matters for the Searing Blaze being able to be played on the opponent's turn.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have tried 12 fetch lands before, which I believe is the number that he is playing.
Yeah, 4 Mesa, 4 Foothills, 2 Tarn, so 10.
That doesn't. It's on 10, 4 Inspiring Vanity. Oh, he's playing 19 lands. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I play 20 and 6.
Got it. Got it. Sulfur falls right off the top onto the battlefield. Lightning Helix the draw. Well, Sullano with a lot of cards in hand. Here's Snapcaster Mage. Looks like it's going to be Lightning Helix.
Yep.
How much more of this can Andrew Sullano take?
-1.
Yeah. That's the answer.
It was the last one was too much.
There's the spell. Is this an attempt at Skullcrack, maybe? Yep. But you can see in Logan Martin's hand, he's got a big old Logic Knot for that. This is a real tough matchup for Burn.
I like the way that Solano's approached it. I think he's given himself a good shot in this game, given what the circumstances were. But this amount of Dispel plus Lightning Helix stuff this is the nightmare. I mean, this is the setup that's really hard to beat.
In for 2, Desolate Lighthouse land for the turn there for Logan Martin. There's Swiftspear. And just path that. It's basically a counter spell. Yeah, I don't think there's any way for Sullano to overcome this. Just too much.
Yeah, it's just too much.
He'll search up a mountain. But this is part of the appeal of this Just Got Control deck. And it's just like Nikolic wrote about and demonstrated in Columbus. Just don't do anything. You win eventually. If the game goes very long, you will win eventually. Your deck is full of plenty of good cards. You got plenty of life gain, all these other things. It's like Lightning Bolt's going to go after Snapcaster Mage. If it's going there, life is bad for the Burn player. And yeah, again.
Don't care.
Yep, who cares? I'll kill you with something at some point.
17.
Yep. Inspiring Vantage to draw. Might as well play that. And even though Desolate Lighthouse means that for Logan Martin, he's going to ensure that he always draws a good card every single turn now, as Lightning Bolt is what he's found. Path to Exile will go to the graveyard. He'll untap those 4 lands. He'll draw a card. Picked up a copy of Negates, sure. Nikolic was playing one of those main in his win at Columbus. Here's Boros Charm.
This is why my approach here is Shrine of Burning Rage.
With good
because
reason.
You need something that can deal 10.
Yep.
and something that it's hard for them to interact with. Doesn't work all the time, but I think your normal cards are just unlikely to get the job done against all the cheap interaction and Lightning Helixes.
I think that's legit. I do.
Get them. Get them on the way out.
You get that Molten Ring going?
I mean, we're here. Why not?
I agree with you.
Get that Lighthouse.
Yep. It's about the small victories. Float a little mana. It's a big old rev time.
Whoa.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got the Lightolas flip there. I thought Martin was falling to 3 and just revving.
Sure,
I was like, whoa.
sure.
Never mind.
You had a moment.
Whoa.
Yeah. That'll be revving for 3.
The bold.
Yeah. There's a Glacial Fortress. Electrolyze you. Bzz. Bolt you. Bzz. We're all set. Logan Martin going to win this game and match for his team. It's Jeskai Control going to dispatch Burn pretty easily there. Stephen Hager, Logan Martin, and Matt Garner are going to win this match. Sultai Delver, Jeskai Control, and Blue Black Control, they're going to move on. Still in top 8 contention for your general on the right for Zach Elsik, Andrew Sullano, and Dylan Kirkpatrick. They'll still play